Hi, we're glad you're here, and we're about to begin. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. KenCast After Dark. Stimulating conversations all night long. And here's your host, Ken Cole.
Hey everyone, welcome to 2023's first KenCast After Dark. It's great to have you here, whether you're watching live or you're watching on the replay. It's great to have you. Feel free to comment in the live chat or in the comments below the video. We want to hear what you think. We're going to be getting into some great discussions today. Have you been wondering about Netflix? Have you been wondering about why they cancel so many shows? Why you get into a show and it seems to be going along really well and then they cancel it before it's over? Do you think this could happen to Cobra Kai? Or do you think Cobra Kai is going to win that cancellation battle and Netflix has no choice but to renew Cobra Kai for multiple new seasons? We're going to get into everything. I want to hear everything that you have to say. And in order to dissect everything, I brought along an expert, not only in Cobra Kai and Terry Silver and movies and television. He's also an expert in technical things, algorithms, computers, IT, all that great stuff. You've seen him before. He is a brilliant talent. He is co-host of the Last Row podcast. Please welcome Drew Rohalli. Drew, how are you? It's great to see you.
Good, Ken. It's great to be back. Thank you. You are too kind, my friend. And it is awesome to be here with you and this great audience as always. And I have one message for everybody. Save silver. Save silver, please.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I love that shirt. Oh my gosh, that is wonderful. That's a hoodie. Yes. Oh man, that looks so good.
It is very comfortable, I must say. Check out the merch in Ken's store, please. It's very good. I can vouch for it. It is a very comfortable hoodie, and I feel happy furthering the cause here. We gotta get our guy out of prison here.
We are going to get him out of prison. I'll flash this up right now if you are interested. For this week, everyone watching this KenCast, 20% off if you want this stuff. It's important to Terry to just get this out there. Profits don't matter. We got to get the message out. Okay. So use that code Save Silver to get 20% off all merch. We're going to be getting back to Save Silver pretty soon. Drew, I want to say something. I love having you here and I love these discussions. And I also love all of the people who are watching live right now, all the people who contribute their thoughts in the comments and also on social media as we prepare for KenCast. People contribute their thoughts and even more. I want to show you something. This is from a fan, Jaws Dufresne. I hope I'm saying this right, Jaws. He says, KenCast is my favorite YouTube show. And also I'm a great fan of Drew. Never stop smiling, guys. Isn't that great?
That is too kind. Thank you. It always blows my mind, like the things. If people listens to anything that I say and they actually don't get bored of it and what we talk about, it still blows my mind that anyone wants to hear any of that stuff. So I just appreciate everyone out there, and it's always fun to be on this show. This is one of my favorite shows to be on too. So it's really great.
Well, we love having you on here, Drew. And Jaws did something else for us. Okay, he put you and me, Drew, into the Cobra Kai series. Check this out.
That's amazing.
Thank you. That's an interesting relationship we have. It's kind of analogous, I suppose, to Johnny and Carmen. I don't know about that, Drew.
Are we expecting? Are we?
I don't know. Is there something you haven't told me, Drew?
That's awesome. Thank you, Joss. That's amazing.
Thank you, Joss. Incredible, and he does these great Photoshop things. I wanted to highlight that because that's awesome. Really appreciate that, Joss.
That is,
and he's just absolutely hilarious. And everyone, I just want to say, let's say hi, Drew. Let's say hi to everyone who's joining us tonight. I know people have questions. They're excited. They want to talk. Let's see. Flip the script. Great to see you. Greetings. Save Silver. Terry Johnson. Wonderful to see you. Melissa Bonsai. Ken Cole. Robana. Thank you for being a channel member, Robana. Hello. Mari. Hi, Ken. Hi. Hi, good to see you. Daniel says, welcome back, Drew. Great to see the two of you do your thing. Hashtag save
Thank you.
silver. Yes, thank you. Marianella, hey, Ken. Hey, everyone, save silver. Mason Lawrence, Cobra Kai never dies. Welcome, Mason. Ben Metello,
Yes.
Drew, fly eagles fly.
Big game this weekend, Ben. Thank you. Go Birds.
Drew, on a scale from 1 to 10, how big of an Eagles fan are you?
Probably an 11. It's big. And my co-host Badway too. He loves the Eagles, so we love the Eagles. Go Birds.
Absolutely. Let's see. Chris Klotz, thank you for being a channel member. Great to see you, Chris. Hello, Ken from New York Ave in DC. That's right, in DC, the nation's capital. Chris, we might be calling on you for the Save Silver campaign to help pull some levers in Washington, DC. We know you can do it for us. Aurelio, thank you for being a channel member, Aurelio. Hi, Sensei Cole and Sensei Drew. Hashtag Save Silver. Well, I'll tell you something, Drew, and I think this feeling is mutual. If we are senseis, co-senseis of a dojo here, I don't think we're going to have that same dynamic as Kreese and Terry Silver. As much as we admire Terry Silver, that was probably kind of a semi-toxic or dynotoxic relationship.
Yeah,
right?
I like that. It is very dynotoxic. I feel like, I don't know, ours is way more complimentary, I feel, than that. So
I feel chill. Like I feel like we're in the dojo of chill here. So welcome to the dojo of kill. Sorry, chill, not kill.
I don't know if we want to be in that dojo.
Yeah, Freudian slip, I guess. Let's see, Josh. Good to see you, Josh Marino. KenCast and smell the coffee, Mr. Cole, Mr. Riley. Cobra Kai World. What's up, Ken? What's up, guys? We're Electify streams. Hi, Ken. Can't stay for long, but we'll be chilling here for a bit. Thank you for joining us in the dojo of chill on KenCast with co-senseis Drew and Ken. It's wonderful to have you here. Kate Maloney, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a channel member. Two of my favorite people. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. And Peter Vonasak, did Let's Be Water make that? No, actually, this was a, I'm sure, are you talking about the logo for the shirt? That is from a professional political designer. So we are launching into true political campaigns here. Frank says, hey, Ken, my first KenCast After Dark. Frank, welcome. You haven't lived until you've experienced KenCast After Dark. Right, Drew?
Absolutely. You even got the After Dark music too. That's really special. It's the nice saxophone. It's the chill atmosphere.
Lulling you into that, just that dojo of chill. I think it's entirely possible Netflix could announce that season 6 is the end of the series. It hasn't been written yet, and it feels like the tourney should end it. Well, Drew, I know we're going to get into this. I don't know. Just before we get into the data, what's your intuition about this?
I'm gonna reverse jinx it and say that I'm worried that season 5 might be the end, and I know that a lot of people are saying 6 is on the horizon. I hope that it's not, because I want season 6, and I think a season 6 and a season 7 arc would make a lot of sense. Get them set up for the Seikai Taikai, and then maybe another season after that. I think, we've talked about this before, but you don't want to have too much where then it starts to drag on. But I think the way that it ended, it sets it up for like another arc. And I think that could be a 2 to 3 season arc that I think they could do really well, given the fact that they've been successful with the previous 5. So hopefully it's not the end, and we'll will it into existence. Everybody, let's will it. Let's season 6, please.
Yeah, Drew, I think you make an excellent point. I'm 100% on board with that. I really think it could do with multiple seasons going forward.
Yeah. Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Great. Thank you, Frank. That was a really great thing. Peter says Drew's hoodie game is strong.
Save silver, Peter.
Brian says totally save silver. Nick Cruz says, you guys going live made my night. Yes. Oh, man. Well, guess what? All you guys commenting makes our night too. And so we have a lot to talk about, guys. We want to hear about all your thoughts, but Drew, I think we need to get into the news.
KenCast News.
All right, here we go.
This is a professional operation here.
And less, we look up to Terry Silver, right? he's into the atmosphere, the ambiance, so that we try to emulate him. Drew, I have something exciting to tell you about.
I'm on the
Really
edge of my
exciting.
seat.
Some
I'm on
big
the edge of my
news.
seat here.
Okay. Look at this. Cobra Kai
Dude,
figures.
this is up my alley. See, I got like all my DC multiverse figures here. Like I need a Terry Silver figure right now. And Badway and I were just talking about this. Like I was wondering whether they would do it with the white hair or the old one, and I wish they gave you like a swappable head where you get the 89 silver and this, but this is a day one purchase for me. I know it doesn't look exactly like him, but the fact that they made it of him, like I need to own this. Like I need this in my life. I don't know about you, but I'm probably gonna buy them all.
Well, we've talked over the years, Drew, about Terry Silver, the character, just from front to back. And we've mentioned, I know we've talked about this multiple times, the idea of Terry Silver needing an action figure. And it's happening. It's happening. I don't know how big this is. And is that Thomasine Griffith? Well, maybe close. I'm pretty, not bad. Not bad for an action figure. Big T, thank you for joining us, Big T. I don't know if Big T's throwing a little shade at this action figure, saying, "Where's mine?" But it's good. I'm glad you're here, Big T, and hopefully, you're impressed with your own action figure. Drew, I'm not huge. I know you're into action figures, and a lot of people watching this might be into action figures. I haven't bought many, but I've seen all different kinds. There are these toy kinds. Like it looks like you can bend these. These look kind of like your maybe smaller, normal size action figures. But then don't they have like really big figures, like really artfully done figures as well? And I feel like this is a good first step, but we need like one of those big artfully done figures of Terry Silver.
I think these are like 7-inch scale, and I agree with the comments in here too. Like Terry's taller than these two guys, so the scale's already off for me. Like he needs to be taller than Johnny and Chosen by like at least another like bit. That's always a problem with these kind of things. But man, they need like I need a huge one here. Like my daughter has like a 4-foot size Rapunzel. Like I need like a 7-foot, Terry Silver just to put in the corner over here and like just watch me do everything. That's what we really need.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, how much energy would that give to your life? A ton. That would give a ton of energy to your life.
Yeah.
Robanus asks, "Where's Daniel?" Now, from my understanding, if we read this, this is series 2.
Yes.
So I think series 1 had Daniel, Johnny, and John Kreese.
Yes, they already have one because at my local comic shop, like they have some, and there's actually a really cool Johnny figure that comes in almost like a VHS case. It looks like Diamond Select is the company that makes these. They're good quality figures. Like Diamond's a good company, but they do have those others. Like I've seen Kreese in the wild. I've seen Daniel, and I've seen Johnny, and some of them are cool. Like there's even this elusive Eagle Fang Johnny, which I don't know if that's what this one looks like, I guess. But it looks really interesting. But I've never seen a Terry. The only one I've ever seen was a custom that somebody made of a Terry Silver figure. And, some people do that when they don't exist, but the custom was pretty awesome. So I hope we get an 89 Terry too, or like at least like a head swappable version of it too, because you should be able to pop on and off like both of these heads. But
that's great.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, like Chosen, it does look like Yuji. Johnny's a little, I don't know, it's not the resemblance isn't the best, but Terry looks a little off to me. But the fact that it even exists, I mean, I think they're like $25, which isn't too bad. So I think I'll probably definitely get that. I don't know about you, but I need that as a collector.
Yeah, I'll be getting, and at this point, I might as well just get the whole series. Like this looks pretty cool. Peter Vonasak from Cobra Kai Companion Podcast says, "I know that's actually Tom Cole in a gi." Indeed, Peter. Indeed, I think that's a wonderful idea, and who knows, that might indicate the direction of Cobra Cole in the future. That is funny though. He kind of does look like could be Tom Cole.
We need that.
Yes. Brian says, "I still love the idea of Silver smoking a cigar in a luxury car, just putting his plans in motion in his head." Yeah, I do. Yeah. Like that would be to me the ultimate. Like if you had 1985 Terry Silver with Rolls Royce, where he could put him in the Rolls Royce, and his accessory is like a guitar and Karate's Bad Boy magazine.
Oh yeah.
That would be a must purchase.
I feel like because we need different waves of these, right? They make alternates all the time. You need that, then
Right.
you need him with the Toyota pickup truck because that's the other one where he's sort of
Right.
like rags to riches. Like you need all the different versions of him, and then the silver or the silk gi from when he's sparring in the Ennis house. Like
Yes.
that's a good
Yes.
version of one that we should have. Man, they should make like variants, and I would buy every single one. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just so glad. Like, I was asking the guys at the comic shop that I go to, I'm like, "Have you heard anything about maybe them getting a Terry Silver figure?" So I was blown away when I saw this on your YouTube community page today. I was really happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew, when you're talking, it's giving me more ideas of things I would want. I would want a 1985 Terry Silver, plus I would want an action figure for Margaret and Milos. Okay. And then if you were to make like an Ennis House mansion too to go along with it, but if you have the car, just think of all the imaginative stories you could make of like Terry Silver doing things and like getting Margaret and Milos to carry out his tasks. And then you could bring in like Daniel and Johnny, and they could befall all kinds of tragedies every time.
What is
What
that
do you think?
show? I'm blanking on it now because it's just my brain dead. My brain's not working right now. What's the show that they used to do on Cartoon Network? You guys will have to help me out. Adult
Robot
Swim.
Chicken?
Yeah, Robot Chicken, right? Where they had the
Yeah.
figures and they did the stories. They should do that with this. That would be incredible. That would be so fun. To your
It
point.
would
And then
be.
you could get him in like a little bubble bath and stuff too, or a sauna. Like imagine all the places. There's some people that do some really cool toy photography. Like that would be incredible. I would love that.
It would be so great. Josh says, I need this Terry Silver figure more than Arnold Schwarzenegger needs a Turbo Man and Jingle All the Way. That's intense. And we're gonna get to the Last Row podcast in a second, but
Oh.
you guys, Drew, did a great episode on Jingle All the Way of
Yeah, we
that.
did.
So
Thank you.
guys, we've got a link to the Last Row podcast below, and we're going to talk about it in just a second. Daniel says we also need a tuxedo dress Terry with a glass of wine and a sword. Oh yeah. Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah.
Robana says like the old Power Rangers toys where you squeeze the arms to
Yes.
swap the head.
I had those. Those are great.
Yes. Yes. Darkest Hour, 1985 Terry Silver in a fancy car is a male version of Barbie in a big car. Don't tell Terry that, but yeah, you might be right. You might be
That's
right.
awesome.
Marianella says there should be more Cobra Kai merchandise. Some of the merchandise you get is not legal. I have a glass and a mate from Cobra Kai. Yes. Yes. Lots of great comments here, guys. Lisa Barrett just joined us. How you doing, Lisa?
Hi.
Josh says we need Ken and Drew figures.
That would be something.
I think that would be a dream I never knew I had, to be in action figure form. Big T comments, Margaret and Milos, whatever happened to those guys? I woke up from my Cicerone-induced haze sometime in the 90s and they were gone. Oh my gosh.
I hope we
dear
see
me.
them in a future season. That would be incredible, or at least find out what happened to them.
Yes. I hope so too. They were great. They were small characters, but very meaningful to Terry's empire. That's for sure.
I'm still awaiting the return of Snake and Dennis, so I'm anxiously awaiting here, guys.
Yeah, they have to come back. At least Dennis. At least Dennis has to come back. Okay, Drew. All right, guys. Next up, it's the Last Row podcast. Drew, for everyone who's just new to KenCast or KenCast After Dark, or you haven't met Drew yet, he is the co-host of the incredible podcast, the Last Row podcast. This podcast is exploding. It's an amazing podcast that talks about movies, all these different movies. And Edward Scissorhands is a new episode. Drew, tell us about your podcast and tell us about this new episode.
Thank you for the kind words. It's a fun show I do with my best friend Badway. You guys might have seen him on this channel before. He's my co-host, and we try to do movies that we grew up watching, movies that are you would call them rewatchable movies, things that you either forgot you loved, or things that you maybe never saw that, hey, you should probably add this to your watch list or your Netflix queue or whatever. And we've done a bunch of classic 80s, 90s, 2000s movies. We've done action movies. We've done sort of the childhood classics like the Mighty Ducks and things like that. we don't really do plot recaps. We kind of pick apart the movie and we pick apart like silly things. So for example, Edward Scissorhands, we talked a little bit about what other attachments would be fun for somebody instead of Scissorhands. Jay Wagan, who's been on your channel before, Jay is awesome. He gave us a whole bunch of ideas and some great emails. There's been a lot of people that have written in from this channel, and we really appreciate everyone checking our show out. But we have a blast talking about silly things besides the plot of the movie, and we just kind of have fun with it. So check us out. Our website's thelastrowpodcast.com. If you guys have any movie suggestions, feel free to send them in. We're always looking for some new stuff here. We do new episodes every other Thursday. So
yeah, and I'll jump in and say this episode taught me more about Edward Scissorhands' anatomy than I ever thought possible. You
maybe
guys,
more than you wanted to.
yeah. Well, but the thing is, like, these things have to be thought about. I mean, this is a classic movie. Everyone watches it, and over time, like, you got to think about certain things. And you guys, you're not afraid. You're not afraid to confront all of the pressing issues about Edward Scissorhands. It's so much fun, guys. You got to check this out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, we've got links down in the description. Go follow them and leave them a 5-star review because they deserve it.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So, Drew, the next thing here, I'll take this off. We need to talk about something very important. Okay. We need to talk about the Save Silver campaign. Now, this has been a long time coming. We have been working on Save Silver for a while. We've been working on behalf of Mr. Sensei Silver because he was unfairly taken into custody. We don't know quite yet what happened with that, but Drew, we had entire live KenCasts about, like, is he guilty? He is not guilty, and all the reasons he's not guilty. And I don't know, maybe the best thing I can do, Drew, is there's a brand new commercial out that really puts everything in perspective about Save Silver. So I think, Drew, with your permission, we should probably just play the commercial.
We need to. I can't get enough of it. Please play it.
Okay, let's play
Great
this.
men rise to lead America. Men like Abraham Lincoln, George S. Patton, and Ronald Reagan. Another great man is Terrence Silver. A decorated war veteran, Terrence Silver has spent his life saving the environment, funding education, and creating jobs across the globe. Unfortunately, the enemies of freedom want to silence Silver and frame him for bogus crimes. We must not let that happen. Now's the time for all good citizens to stand up and save Silver. Call your representatives today and tell them to save Silver. Paid for by Cole Associates for a Free America. Show your support for the Save Silver movement with limited edition custom merchandise now available for purchase. Together, we can save Silver.
I get a tear in my eye every time I watch it. So
Save Silver, please.
Yes, Save Silver, guys. Drew has a hoodie on. Guess what, guys? Look, I've got a Save Silver mug. That's right. Every morning I wake up and I look down and I go, "Wow, Save Silver," and I get that jolt of caffeine. I've also I'll put this on, guys. Today, for this entire week, people who are watching this live stream, there's a 20% off all merch for Save Silver. We just want to get the word out there. There's a Save Silver hat. See that? There we go. It's beautiful. Oh, it fits so well. It's great. It's very snug. This is called a dad cap. I don't know. Maybe it goes with a dad bod. I don't know.
It looks good on you, man. It looks good.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Save Silver, guys. It's all good. And we appreciate everyone for supporting our ideas. They might not be popular among some, but Terry Silver really, I think, has been done an injustice. And whether you choose to support or show your affection through merchandise, the most basic thing you can do is actually go ahead and subscribe to this channel. It's totally free, makes you feel good. It helps the Save Silver movement. You can also hit like and the notification bell, and also go follow the Last Row podcast as well. because they are big fans of Terry Silver. They're the original experts on Terry Silver, in fact. So so anyway, Drew, thank you. I'll put this down here for now.
I have to say one thing.
Yes.
That commercial like is incredible. And I think you deserve a lot of credit because that was an incredible commercial. You understand the way to get a message out there is what I could say. Cole Associates for America here. And let me tell you, man, it was moving to me. And I watched that thing like 50 times already. And it gets better every time. It's incredible. So nice
Thank
job.
you. Thank you. Yes, for everyone who's eagle-eyed, you can see into the history of Terry Silver, some things you might not have known about his history. You can get glimpses of that. And yeah, it's wonderful. And we have Big T on here. Thank you for joining us. It says, my good friend Ken, for spreading the word. Thank you. Yes, and we're happy to do it. Honestly, Drew, it was a lot of fun to put that together and to come up with all of that and really to help support one of our favorite characters, if not our favorite character of all time. Shout out to Mason Lawrence. Thank you for becoming a member, Mason. Really appreciate it. It's wonderful to have you on board. Let's see. We've got so many people saying save silver. Terry Johnson, yes, save silver. Daniel. Oh yeah. John is hashtag John, Josh, and Hayden hear us out. I like it. Well, I think they're on board with the idea because we were very luckily that commercial was retweeted by John Hurwitz.
I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah, so that's cool. That means that they've heard us. So they hold Terry's fate in their hands, of course. Josh says Terry Silver and his sword versus Edward Scissorhands. Who is the winner? Drew, you're the expert. What would you say?
Man, I gotta go Terry just because he has that killer instinct. Edward Scissorhands doesn't want to kill anybody. He accidentally nicks people, but Terry's stone cold. He does what he needs to do. Put it that way. So
yes, that's great. Brian says must save silver. Donnie, hi Donnie. Hello, Ken, Drew, and all. Hope all is well this evening. Yes, thank you for joining us. Donnie says, I did update my profile pic in honor of the 30th anniversary of the Power Rangers.
yes.
Yeah, and you guys did the Power Rangers recently too on the Last Row podcast.
Yeah,
right?
we did the movie from the 90s a little while back, and there's a bunch of I saw. Speaking of Netflix, there's going to be a special. I think both the original Blue Ranger and the Black Ranger are, I think, going to make a return there. I don't know if Peter's still on. I know Peter's a big Power Rangers fan too, or at least the original series. So that's pretty cool. And I saw that they're speaking of figures, Hasbro's going to put out some more figures with that, like sort of with the anniversary. So that's kind of cool. So that is pretty awesome. I like that profile picture.
Yes, indeed. Tammy says save silver. Darkest Hour, silver is the new gold.
I like that.
That's
wonderful.
Good. Big T himself says hashtag save silver, hashtag silver coal 2024. Big T, is this a formal invitation to be your VP? I'll do it 100%. I'll do it. Thanks, Big T. Josh says make silver great again. Terry says, yes, Terry, you should give Ken Cole a raise. Yeah, that would be great, Big T. Thank you. I'd appreciate that. And Tech says, Silver did nothing wrong.
I agree.
Indeed. So thank you, guys. We will hide that banner for now. Make use of that code if you want merch. Drew, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We're getting into some analytics, I think. And Melissa has a comment. The creators have always said that they have enough for at least 6 seasons. So we might be possibly getting a season 7 with the Sakai Taikai being in that season, especially if we get a time jump season 6. Right. And you were talking about this, how you would want there to be multiple seasons of Cobra Kai and not just one last season of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to bring up something. Another friend to KenCast is Cobra Kai Nation, Shamoon. He tweeted this right before we went on air. He's like, he's not sure how legit this is, so take it with a huge grain of salt. And then this is like some anonymous form submission that says a Netflix show, this popular martial arts dramedy is being renewed for its 6th and final season. Production will start in late spring. An official announcement will be made in February. That's like, there's a lot of weirdness on the internet, Drew, and I know that we shouldn't trust things. The way this is written, it seems to have a kind of confidence about it, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I should not have put this up at all? Do you think we should not think about this? Is it legit or not?
It's hard to say because I don't know what that du moi is or whatever whatever that is, but I mean, I've seen a lot of things going one way or the other. I think the only thing that I think stands out to me is like it's taken a while for this, but I don't know what this source is. It's anonymous at anon.com. I mean, there's a lot of people saying things out there. I don't think you should not have put it up, but it's worth talking about. But I feel like at this point we can't take anything, for what it is unless it comes from the big three or Netflix itself, because there's so much stuff flying around out there. But it's fun to speculate. That's for
Right.
sure. I mean, I think we all want it to happen, but man, it's anybody's guess. I just hope we get some good news here instead of some bad news. So
Indeed. Yeah, and we've got to talk about that possibility too. You talk about that. We have to cover the whole range of possibilities. Cobra Kai World says it's probably fake. Big T himself says reeks of fake. And Robana says, nah, look at shows that have lasted more than 10 seasons. They grasp at straws. I don't want that to happen to such a great show like Cobra Kai. Yeah. It's true. Sometimes shows go on too long. Terry Johnson says, I hope it's fake because I want Cobra Kai to have at least 2 seasons. Yes. Okay. So Drew, let's go ahead and get into our main discussion for tonight.
KenCast discussion.
Okay. So this whole thing about cancellation and Netflix, can you give us kind of an overview, Drew, of why we're even worried about this? Why everyone's talking about cancellation? Why Netflix is being blamed as sort of like this cancel happy network?
yeah, I mean, they've sort of gotten this reputation over the years of really pushing a show and then within a season canceling it. Like one of the most recent ones that comes to mind is like Cowboy Bebop, which I'm not like a huge Cowboy Bebop person, but I remember the season came out, was out for like less than a week. And then within a week you hear, oh, by the way, we're not going to renew that for another season. And it's like got canceled right away. And that's not the only show. I mean, this has been going on for years. And there's other ones. I can't remember some of the other ones. Like Sense8 was one of the first ones that I recall that was like a big deal that it got canceled. One of the first shows that I used to watch on Netflix was called Marco Polo. I think they canceled that after season 2, and I really liked it. And it's weird because, for me growing up, a lot of reasons why I didn't get into network shows were because I felt like they were cancel happy, and they were very much like, one of the first ones that comes to mind is I watched a show called Lost. I think a lot of people watch that. Then right after that, I think one of the creators made a show called Flash Forward. And I thought, oh, this is a cool concept. So I started watching from the beginning. And then after the first season, it ended on this giant cliffhanger. And it's like, oh, it's canceled. No. So right then and there, I was like, I'm not watching something unless there's at least 2 seasons. But Netflix has been notorious for this lately. And it seems like they use this like ruthless data. It's more algorithm driven. And I'm not trying to be unfair to them. I don't know if that's how they do it, but that's the sense that I think a lot of people get, that they're just based on data or based on whatever. And look, business is business. You got to make business decisions. But I think you may have some other networks or other streaming services out there that maybe say, hey, you know what? I think we got a gem here. Like, let's just see if it can go one more season versus like this cold and ruthless, like cut, and it just seems to me like Netflix has done that more frequently recently. Maybe it's a feeling. I don't know if the data supports it though.
Right. Well, Drew, you sent me this really great article that talks about this idea of the Netflix cancellation loop.
Oh, yeah.
They came up with this concept, and I'm going to put this up here, and we can kind of talk about it. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Netflix has created a self-fulfilling cancellation loop with its new shows by Paul Tassi. Okay, so basically he starts talking about how I remarked that Netflix now felt like it was actively stealing time from me. It's kind of like what you're talking about with Flash Forward being canceled after 1 season, right? Canceled on a cliffhanger. This is always what happens. The idea is, since you know that Netflix cancels so many shows after 1 or 2 seasons, ending them on cliffhangers and leaving their storylines unfinished, it's almost not worth investing in a show until it's already ended and you know it's going to have a coherent ending and
Yeah.
finished arc. So you hold off on watching new shows, even ones you might otherwise be interested in, because you're afraid Netflix will cancel them. Enough people do this, and surprise, viewership is low. So Drew, I want to kind of pause here and talk about this, because this it seems to have gotten into your viewing habits too. You're only going to watch it if there are
Yep.
2 seasons. So I think he's got a point here. A lot of people's behavior is different now because they don't want to invest in something that's going to be canceled, but then it's going to be canceled anyway
Yeah.
by Netflix if there aren't any numbers that support the show going forward. I don't know, what do you make of this idea?
It's a really tricky one because you look at a show like Cobra Kai, which started on YouTube Red or YouTube Premium, whatever you want to call it, and they sort of brought it on to Netflix. So it wasn't like a new show per se. Yes, they produced maybe the newer seasons of it, but that show already existed. So I think people could go back and say, okay, cool, I'm going to go watch the first 2, 3 seasons for this. And then, oh, season 4 is coming out. Awesome. I'll pick that up. So the viewership is a little bit different. But when you have a new show that's coming out, like, I'm absolutely like the person that wrote that article right now, especially with them. Like, I don't know if this is going to last. Why do I want to waste any time on it? And if I knew, hey, this thing had like a 1 or 2 season arc, I'm okay with that. But if I know it's going to end on some cliffhanger, like what's the point? There's plenty of television out there and I have limited time. Like, why would I waste my time on something like that? And, it puts a lot of pressure on the writers too, because you have to sort of plan an exit strategy. Like, I look at the way this past season of this show ended, Cobra Kai. It
Mhm.
wrapped things up kind of nicely such that if it were to be the end, okay, I guess you could end it there. Obviously, you don't want it to end, but it does put pressure on writers. Are they really telling the story that they wanna tell? And I think, I've always heard good stories that Netflix is good to work with. They support their creators. Like, they seem
Right.
like a good company to work with. A lot of people are jumping from just general Hollywood to work there, and they've got a lot of great relationships. So I don't know what it is, but it's really tough. And then when you think about how they're funded, like, I don't know if the funding is there too, because the way that they're sort of like stock price driven and all these different things, like and that is the company versus like a Warner or something where maybe HBO Max streaming is part of something else. I don't know, but it it, it really does make me not want to waste time if I think something's going to get canceled after 1 season or 2. So it just seems interesting. I don't know. Do you feel the same? Because a lot of people I know do.
Well, it's interesting because with network television, the stuff that we grew up on when we were little, you'd watch the shows and then there would be ads for other shows that would pop up, along with the commercials and that type of thing that would promote all new series. So you knew about it. And like there was a marketing campaign usually about these shows. And then you had time slots. With Netflix, I'm interested to get your thoughts on this. With Netflix, you mentioned the idea that everything's algorithm based, and it's almost like these shows aren't promoted. A lot of them aren't actually promoted with like a marketing campaign. It's almost like Netflix is going to suggest it to people who it thinks would
Yeah.
like it. And if it doesn't take off from there, it's done. Like they're not going to support it with like a marketing campaign to sort of get the show out into the ether, to get into the general awareness. It's pretty much just put out there and seeing if it has any kind of like wings, maybe like what YouTube does, with videos. It's
Yeah.
just like, does it take off or not? According to the algorithm. And I don't know. Do you think that that's do you think basically series are hurt by not having traditional marketing campaigns, even articles published about them?
I do, and I think it's also, to your point, like, they're gonna surface it to people that they think might like it. Like, YouTube's a really good example, right? Because, everyone's YouTube homepage looks different. It's based on what you're watching and, what they know about what you like and what your history is and all that kinda stuff. There is a lot of like, Netflix is one of the companies, like, imagine how much data they have on their viewers. It's a lot different than, public TV networks that need to rely on, like, Nielsen or something like that, where they're trying to understand, like, "What are you watching tonight?" Like, stuff like that
Right.
or whatever, or you got the Nielsen box or whatever it is. But I think it's interesting because the other thing I was thinking about was how much do they want to promote certain things too? Because
Mhm.
if they have quantity over quality sometimes, and I think they're okay with that. Like I remember there was a story, I think it was a couple of years ago when I think it was I'm gonna pronounce the guy's name wrong. I think it's Jason Kilar, I believe, or Kyler, the person who was the head of HBO Max at the time. I think with the new leadership that's changed since then. But he was talking about how he wanted to emulate like the Netflix model. And a lot of people were upset by that because HBO is typically seen as like this prestige television where, there's very curated sense of there's this show that and I have this thing where if HBO is putting out a show, it's probably pretty good. Like they've built that I don't know how to say it. They've built that reputation, right? Such that it's one of those things where, you don't have to um you don't have to worry about whether it's good or not a lot of times, and you
Right.
feel like it's good. Whereas
Right.
I remember the beginning of Netflix was like that, and I remember when they had shows, I probably butcher all the names, but there was not a ton of them. I can't blame them for what they did though, because they knew that their licensing was going to be up with a lot of the things that they had through other, production companies and whatnot. So they had to build their own library. They just went about it an interesting way, I feel,
Right.
versus, doing more of like the curated content type of stuff. So I do think you're right though. The algorithm, I think, sometimes hurts it. And I don't know that they promote things the best way all the time, unfortunately.
Right. Right. Now, Tammy says Netflix cancels good shows. Why did they cancel 1899? Was very popular and made them money. And Darkest Hour follows up and says, especially since the creators are the same who made Dark and had the same 3-season plan for 1899 that they did for Dark. Good. That's a great call. Tammy also follows up, if Netflix cancels Cobra Kai, what was the point of getting it in the first place? Doesn't cost as much as Stranger Things does, and Witcher, and shows like those. And this is a good question, Drew. So what happens? Like, what happens? Um, okay. And I'll take over here for just a
Yeah,
second,
just
Drew.
give me 1 minute. Thank you.
You bet. So what happens when Netflix acquires these shows? Does Netflix want to just keep pumping out new seasons, or is it about Netflix growing this back catalog? So that's kind of my question. We have all these shows that belong to Netflix's catalog, and as time goes on and they keep making new shows, there are more and more that get added to the catalog. So you would think that that would increase the value proposition for a Netflix subscriber. There's just more stuff to watch all the time. You can go back and watch any Netflix show from the beginning, and that's great. However, with these shows like, say, 1899, if they're canceled so early, is it worth it even watching one season? And for shows like that, is it worth it to even have that as part of the back catalog on Netflix? Because someone will start watching it and then, they won't get to know how it ends. So, that's, I think that's a really interesting question, of what is the value of keeping these shows on there, of creating this catalog, but some of that catalog's unfinished. Melissa says, Cobra Kai World, shoosh, don't give them any ideas. Indeed, indeed. Stingray, call the Cobra. Terry Johnson, save Silver. Yes. And oh, it's great, great to see you guys supporting Save Silver. South Park did an episode about Netflix just putting crap on and accepting everything. Well, the one thing I'll say about Netflix is it really seems to have a number of different types of shows. You have your prestige shows, like Stranger Things and The Crown and, all these other prestige shows. But then you also have lots of true crime stuff and of varying quality. Some of it's not good. Some of it's really good. Some of it's, I don't know what you'd call it. Kind of like, I don't want to call it trash TV, but like, daytime TV, reality type stuff. It's got really this whole spectrum of entertainment. And so it's interesting. How do they choose what to do? I don't know, but it's a good point. Like that South Park makes about, it's just willing to put anything on and see if it gets viewers. So Metal says, Ken Cole, instead of calling the show Cobra Kai, it should be called Cobra Crimes, because the characters, some serious crimes throughout season 5, don't you think? Yes. And that's in the Save Silver movement we want to bring up, is this idea that Terry's not perfect. We all know that. However, other people have maybe committed crimes, even greater crimes than Terry Silver. For instance, Daniel, Chosen, Johnny, maybe Mike Barnes, all those people have committed crimes, provable crimes, like on camera, breaking and entering, assault, if not murder, then seriously maiming people. The kids, like those kids broke into the Cobra Kai dojo, into their server room to try and hack and steal footage. That's a major crime. And compared to that, Terry really hasn't committed any provable crimes. And so, that's a good point. You could call it Cobra Crimes. And maybe Terry should do that in his defense. That other people want to turn it into, instead of Cobra Kai, Cobra Crimes. Josh says, hi, Stingray, not a place for silver traders. Indeed. Well, Stingray, thank you for joining us. It's okay. All are welcome here. We have an opinion, but everyone is welcome. Let's see. Is anyone commending him dumping toxic waste? Not necessarily. Well, we don't know what he was doing. And again, he might be trying to just clear up toxic waste, clear up any kind of pollution on the planet, or put it in a certain location where people won't mind. We have pollution, guys, and someone needs to dispose of it. And I think Terry was willing to do that through Dynatox. And you can question his methods, but it seems like he got it done and was well compensated for that. There was a demand for it, and he fulfilled that demand. Okay, Thanura says, just binged that 90s show. It checks off Hayden Schlossberg's rules for reviving classic IP. Yes. Hope Netflix won't cancel it. I need Topher Grace reacting to the Phantom Menace. This is a really great point, because a long time ago, Hayden Schlossberg was interviewed for an article, or he wrote it. I can't remember which it was, about ideas on how to revive these franchises. What are the rules of reviving these franchises? So that's definitely a great article to check out. And it's very encouraging to hear that that 90s show does that. And guys, we this is a live show. Anything can happen. I am going to play the trailer for sorry, I'll be back in just a second, guys. Here's Dynatox for you. The pollution crisis facing our planet is nothing new. In 1974, business visionary and war veteran Terrence Silver founded Dynatox. He dedicated his life to fighting the challenges posed by pollution and toxic waste, to preserve the American way of life. Terrence Silver stood up to all enemies of the environment, whether adversaries abroad or corrupt bureaucracy at home. Under the guidance of Terrence Silver, Dynatox became the industry leader, bringing thousands of jobs to Americans and people across the globe. Most of all, Dynatox has given us the gift of clean water, fertile land, and fresh air for generations to come. Dynatox. Paid for by Coal Associates for a Clean America. Hey guys, unfortunately Drew had an emergency. We're sending our thoughts with him. Hopefully it resolves okay. So you'll have to be okay with me for the rest of the evening. Thank you for joining us. Cloud Leon, thank you. $5. Thank you for the support. Every little bit helps the channel. Really appreciate the super chat, guys. Thank you. Lupo says, hey Ken, it's 4:15 here. I am getting up for work. Hope the stream is going well. It is going great. Really enjoying looking at all of this stuff. So guys, let's get back into talking about Netflix and what's going to happen. And is it possible for us to figure out what is going on with Netflix, and if they're going to renew Cobra Kai season 5. So I want to bring up this particular article here because it's actually here. Let me go to this one. How does Netflix decide whether to renew or cancel a show? And this is kind of fascinating because it kind of gives us insight. And this is from What's on Netflix. It gives us insight into all the different factors that go into whether Netflix is going to renew it or not. So let's look at some of the key points. This is kind of detailed, but it brings up some interesting things. The first thing is that there's this kind of main measure of a title's impact. It's called an adjusted view share, an efficiency score, or an impact value. And that there's a lot of kind of secrecy about this, but just they give some examples and they talk about an impact value being a dollar figure. So they come up with this, like the Dave Chappelle special had an impact value of 19.4 million, an efficiency score of 0.8x, and adjusted viewer share of 12. Okay. So there are these kind of internal measures as to, how is a show doing? How much money is it bringing in? And then but what about the stuff that we can track from the outside? Is that possible? This is another thing that's key. Apparently completions are very important. So a completion would be if a given person starts watching a show, what percentage of those people actually finish the last episode of the season? So is it pretty strong? Do people keep watching throughout the show? Or is it a case where people watch a lot of the first episode or second episode, and then it just kind of drops off and not many people watch it? And so they say, if you can see here, here's a completion stats for First Kill, which is a series on Netflix. And you can see the first episode starts off at 100%, and then it kind of starts to trail off. Okay. And then what they say is that if you want to get to a renewal, you want to have above at least 50% completion on the season. So they're looking for, are people actually watching through to the end? So that's kind of fascinating. And as I'm going through these guys, think about the series Cobra Kai and think about how you think Cobra Kai would do with each of these criteria. Okay. The next is hourly data. So basically, this is the stuff that's in the news. This is the stuff that they announce. Like this past weekend, so many million hours of Cobra Kai was watched, which beats, say, this other series or not. And, this is just how much is the series watched? How many hours total has everyone watched of this season? And of course, if you have a lot of hours watched, that bodes very well to seeing if you get a renewal. And then also external factors. So they talk about Google Trends, maybe say people watching shows like this, like are people watching shows about Cobra Kai? Are people talking about it? Are people interested in it? So a lot of these factors go into whether a show is going to be renewed. And so here's what I found. Going into one of the websites, I was able to find, now, whether you believe this or not, you'll have to let me know, but this basically shows like all the hours watched for the different seasons. Now, to me, it looks like the first 3 seasons are a bit suspect. Obviously, seasons 1 and 2 were on YouTube Red. Season 3 debuted on Netflix. I think, if I remember right, and I'm sure you do too, season 3 on Netflix was a huge event, and people were watching the series. They were watching the first 2 seasons. So I'm not sure how they're calculating these first 3 seasons. But season 4 was the first original season on Netflix. So let's take a look. According to this website, which compiles all this data, you can see it started off with 120 million hours viewed in the very first week of Cobra Kai season 4. And then by January 16th, January 23rd, the 4th week, it went down to about 23,840,000. So there's a drop off, but that makes sense because you and I probably binged the entire series right up front when it was released. Whereas, the stragglers, people who weren't able to get to it initially quickly that maybe weren't super fans, they kind of gradually found it over time. So we would expect that kind of tapering, but that looks pretty incredible. That's a lot of hours viewed. So let's go down to season 5. So this is what they say. So for the first week, they say it's 107 million hours viewed for that very first week. And then the fourth week down to about 20,820,000. So according to this, it looks like the viewership for Cobra Kai season 5 in terms of hours, the number of hours viewed dropped off a little bit, but still held very strongly. And we've talked before about what are the reasons why the viewership might have been just slightly lower in season 5 than in season 4. And, people have talked about the time of year, the release, not enough time between seasons. Maybe the marketing campaign wasn't as strong or long as season 4. But really, that was a really great, I think, holdover for just 9 months later releasing season 5. If that's true, it looks like everything is looking good for Cobra Kai season 5. And so let's think about all those factors, and let's merge that with what we've kind of the teases we've heard from the showrunners, John, Josh, and Hayden, about whether we're going to get another show of Cobra Kai. You can also take this and apply it to any of the series that you watch that might be in danger of being canceled. Are these things, you might be able to go and look online and see how are the hours, how are they doing? Are they holding up? Are people watching the show? So it's kind of interesting. Now let's get to some of your comments. Chris Klotz, thank you so much. What Netflix is doing is called bean counting, not the best way to do business. Right. And it's bean counting with computers, which is interesting because they have access to so much data nowadays that they should be able to make really good predictions about what people watch and what they don't watch and who would want to watch something. But as Drew was saying before, is this something that perhaps, isn't so good if it's just solely algorithm based and they're not kind of giving shows like a second or third chance to find an audience? So that's a really good point. Thank you, Chris, for the super chat, and thank you for supporting the channel. Really appreciate it. Tammy Diaz, what happened? And if you're asking about Drew, I'm not sure. I hope everything's well. We'll get an update and we'll let you guys know. Hopefully everything's okay. Another thing, Last of Us is incredible from Darkest Hour. Love that first episode. And, I'm kind of getting into this idea too, where I kind of want to wait for the season to be done before I watch it all. And, but I don't know. I love the Last of Us video game, and from all you guys' reactions, it looks like Last of Us is a really great show. So Robana says, filmed in my province in Calgary. Very nice. It was great seeing them film the scenes. Yeah, really great. Calgary's beautiful. It has so many different landscapes right around there. So how incredible. Lucas says, I started watching Cobra Kai after season 3 was released. Right. And I think a lot of people found the show when it arrived on Netflix in season 3. And it was kind of odd paying for YouTube Red just for one show, but it was worth it. But I think that was a big ask back in the day. Hey, sign up for YouTube Red or YouTube Premium just to watch this one show. I think a lot of people maybe were hesitant to do that. Whereas when it got to be on Netflix, it was already part of people's subscriptions and was just exposed to such a bigger audience, which was really a fantastic, fantastic thing. Cloud Leon, thank you so much for the super chat and supporting the channel. Terry Silver will use his technique he made for extreme situations, just like streaming service can't breathe, streaming service can't cancel. Right. Well, I'll tell you one thing, Cloud Leon. That's a great comment, and I think that anyone who would threaten to cancel Terry Silver better watch out. So I have a feeling that Terry Silver has personally gone down to Netflix headquarters and told them exactly how many more seasons of Cobra Kai there will be. So, and so guys, basically, from my vantage point of everything that we can see, it does look very good for the future of Cobra Kai, based on these numbers. It looks like probably you and I watched all the episodes. Looks like the amount of hours that people watched were very high. So I'm wondering if this might be strong enough to maybe renew Cobra Kai for multiple future seasons, which I think would be fantastic. And it really kind of feels like season 6 could be the beginning of a story arc that could go beyond into season 7 or 8 or spinoffs. Darkest Hour says, will the spinoffs, if they make them, be on Netflix, or will they pursue other options? It's a really good point. I don't know contractually if they need to be on Netflix. However, I remember, I think it was John Hurwitz saying that when they were pitching the show to Netflix, coming from YouTube Red, one of the ingredients of that pitch was the idea that there was this Miyagi-verse, that it was like this Cobra Kai expanded universe, and you could create future shows. So I think probably if we see spinoffs, they will also be on Netflix, which also makes me think that if you were to do a spinoff of Cobra Kai, you'd probably want the original show around, at least during the beginning of those spinoffs. Because, obviously if the show's already over, then it might be harder to hype a Cobra Kai spinoff, whereas maybe they can sort of overlap the two, at least initially, so the new series can draft off of Cobra Kai. Just a thought. Ben Metello says, I know for season 4, all seasons were in the top 10 for about a week. I'd say a large majority of people are finishing Cobra Kai and not just stopping after a few episodes or a season. Yeah, I agree. And it's just, I think one key ingredient to that is the fact that they are half-hour shows. So now I know we've complained about, the show being too short, but I'm wondering if the show being good and 30 to 40 minutes per episode and very tight, and it gets you to the ending and there's a cliffhanger for the next episode, it's easier to go into the next episode because they're so short. It's like, oh, I can do one more. And so that might be very smart from their standpoint on how they structure the show, because it just leads to binge watching. So yeah, I think you're right. I think the completion rate for Cobra Kai should be fairly high. Let's see. Call of the Cobra said, I started watching Cobra Kai when it came on Netflix. Indeed. Christopher Monty says 4 was terrible, easily the worst season of the series. That's interesting, because I talk to people and everyone thinks that, different seasons are their favorite and least favorite. Now, for me, I would actually put season 4 behind season 1. I would say season 4 is my second favorite season. And of course, many, many reasons for that. But we have the introduction of Terry Silver. But I thought it was a really grounded, it compelled you to view each new episode. There was a very clear endpoint. You had this epic tournament. So I really enjoyed all those elements of season 4. But everyone has their own favorites, so that's great. And I think that's the strength of the series, that there's so much variety and opinion from people who love watching the show. Cecilia, good to see you, Cecilia. How long after new seasons does Netflix normally announce whether another season has been renewed? It's a good question. Sometimes they announce right off of the success of a currently airing season. Sometimes they wait. So we've had tweets and indications from the showrunners and also writer-producers, that maybe it's already been renewed. We don't know how many seasons. It's just that they haven't announced it. So I'm thinking that they're going to wait until there's a maximum PR value, a maximum marketing value, and then announcing a season 6 or maybe other seasons in addition to that. Because, they don't want to put out an announcement and getting lost in the shuffle. I think they want to make an announcement for maximum impact. So we shall see. And when will that be? We'll leave that to Netflix marketing. But, I don't know if there's a normal time frame. It might be not so much after a season's been released, but it might be how many months before the new season would be released. So if there's a longer wait this time, then maybe they're waiting so the announcement is closer to that release date, because that would be the official start of the marketing for that season. Just an idea. Tammy said, John said the new season would be confirmed this month. Really? That's interesting. I hadn't seen that. I'll have to look for that. Peter Vonasak says, the question isn't if we'll get season 6, it should be what's after season 6. Ooh. Now, guys, Peter Vonasak he does the Cobra Kai Companion Podcast, which I know many of you have heard. He does all this great content related to Cobra Kai to give you kind of the inside scoop of the making of the show, the people, the creatives who create this entire universe, the Miyagi-verse. And so he's talked with a lot of people. He has a lot of connections. And I'm not saying that this is a tease. This could be just his own personal opinion. But Peter is a person to pay attention to. Everyone should go follow and listen to that podcast. But he is saying here, it's not if we'll get a season 6, it should be what's after. So to me, that tease, and Peter, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, means not just maybe future seasons of Cobra Kai after season 6, but spin-offs, which is pretty exciting, which is really exciting. Call of the Cobra, see, different, season 2 is the worst. Season 4 is over-hated. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realize season 4 was hated much, because I enjoyed it. What season would you say is your least favorite, Ken? Oh my gosh. I would say for me, I love the show in general. I maybe didn't love season 5 as much as the other seasons. I love that we got Terry Silver just in full glory. Kim Da-eun was fantastic. I thought we had some really interesting stuff, great character moments. But I don't know, for me, maybe season 5. But again, it's like, I love the show. So everyone's going to have their own favorites and least favorites. Robana says season 5 wasn't the best. Silver versus Terry was the only thing good about it. Let's see. We've got Josh says Terry Silver and Chosen are the best of the 2 last seasons. I think teen drama is not more interesting than the original characters now. That's a good point. It's, who do you like to follow? Are you a fan of the younger characters, or are you a fan of the older characters? And, I can see, I've heard that about season 5. It's, maybe the younger characters didn't have their time to shine as much as season 5. Maybe it's more focused on the older characters. But, I think, and especially in a long running series, that focus is going to go back and forth. And so, it's all about balance. So we have to trust that in the future, we will come to balance, which would be a nice, satisfying conclusion to the series. Peter confirms that, and he says, right. So, okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Peter, but go follow Cobra Kai Companion Podcast. I have a feeling that he's going to have a lot of great news for you coming up in the future about Cobra Kai and maybe future series. So that's really exciting. Cecilia says season 2 is my least favorite, but I love the show as a whole. Yes. Cobra Kai World says, I love them all, but here's my ranking: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's so funny. Eliza says, for me, it's season 1, season 4, season 2, season 5, season 3. See, very interesting. I like that. I like how everyone has different things that they like about the series. Peter says, I also have Cayman's number if you see my interviews with him. Yes. Yes, indeed. Guys, you should go check out, Peter has interviewed Robert Mark Kamen, who is the creator of all of this. He wrote the original Karate Kid, the first 3 Karate Kid movies. Great screenwriter. And Peter interviewed him. And Peter, I think it's okay for me to say now, he had to actually cut out parts of the interview before he could release them pre-season 4 and season 5, because Robert Mark Kamen was actually giving away things that were going to happen. So I think the key is, if Peter can give Robert Mark Kamen a call, maybe if he has a nice chat, maybe up at the vineyards with the Kamen wine, maybe Peter would know a lot more about the future of Cobra Kai and all of these series. Let's see, what else do we have? We have so many great comments, guys. Thank you so much. Daniel says, I really hope Kreese doesn't become the main villain for season 6. We already had Silver, who was a step up, and going back to Kreese feels repetitive and even like a downgrade. Well, it's kind of fascinating. Like, what's going to happen with Kreese? What's going to happen with Silver and Kim Da-eun? Is there someone else that's going to show up? I'll let you guys know that I'll be releasing a short video tomorrow that you might have seen before about maybe we've already seen Colonel Dugan in Cobra Kai, and would Colonel Dugan come back? So that's someone from the Miyagi-verse that could come back. And it would be amazing if he did, but that's someone who could also be a villain type role. So I don't know. Nothing's for sure yet. I think anything is possible in the Cobra Kai universe. Peter Bonasak says there were 9 edits to the second interview. That means Peter had to cut out 9 things that Robert Mark Kamen said because they were of high importance, high value, and secret. So Peter, I don't know. Let's ask Peter here. How many of those things can you still not release? So how many of those edits are outstanding that you still can't talk about? I'll throw that out to Peter. Cecilia says, Peter, call Mark Kamen from your bathtub, just like Terry Silver. And Peter says, my bathtub is being occupied by a ponytail Bigfoot. Oh, that's great. Yeah, Bigfoot and me, guys. Check it out if you like Bigfoot. I think it's fun. Kamen has no filter. And really, when it comes to the Cobra Kai universe, he's God. He can say whatever he wants. And he's made so much great stuff in life that I think we all just need to sit back and drink his wine. It's great stuff. Darkest Hour says, with the younger gen all friendly or disenfranchised by their fallen leader, where does the new conflict come from? Indeed. Where does it come from? It's a great question for the new season's writers. And so I'm sure they're excited to get into that if indeed we are moving forward with season 6. Metal says, I have a confession to make, Ken Cole. The only reason I watched Cobra Kai is because of the beautiful actress Mary Mauser. I've been knowing her long before she had a huge break. I have a crush on her. Well, Metal, thank you for sharing your confession. I think that is very common. Mary is a fantastic actress, and definitely a good reason to watch the show. And she does an amazing job of playing someone, I think, who has a lot of great qualities, but also is going through a lot of struggles. And I don't know, she gives it a kind of a very human feel. It feels like someone that you would know and in life and maybe want to be friends with or girlfriends with or, boyfriends with. I don't know what the term is, but yeah, she does an amazing job. Got to see her once and meet her another time. Lots of great energy. She just brings so much to the show. So I completely agree. Peter says some of that was about Mike Barnes. Okay. I don't know if that's related to the stuff he can't talk about yet, but that's interesting. Silver says, I can't tell you guys how many times I've watched Silver kick Danny Boy around in Stingray's apartment. It's so satisfying. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Peter says there are maybe 3 or 4 clips that he still can't talk about that he's learned. So it's another topic. Okay, good to know. So it's not about Cobra Kai. Okay, how fascinating. Christopher says his season's rankings are 3, 1, 5, 2, 4. Interesting. Daniel says Sam is the GOAT. Robana says, Ken, will you be playing the Cobra Kai video game yet? I'll tell you something. I'll be honest. I have the first one. If that's something you guys are interested in seeing, is me playing those games, I mean, I'm totally open to that. I was thinking of doing that with the second game. However, my good friend and contributor to KenCast, Strife the Warrior, he has his own channel that goes into all of this stuff. You should follow that channel too. He's a gamer, and he did a stream playing the game, and I talked with him a bit, and he kind of said, well, maybe you want to hold off until it gets patched because it's kind of buggy. And so maybe you guys can jump in and tell me what you think. And also, I think the Cobra Guys podcast, they had a pretty funny podcast where they kind of tore into the game. So I hope they can kind of fix it. Before I play it, I would like it to be patched so it could be fun, a fun experience. So yeah, but I love to play video games whenever I can. Ben Metello says, I watched seasons 1 through 3 with my dad last year. He was a teen when the movies came out. Told him that 4 and 5 were out at Thanksgiving. A day later, he told me he finished it. Wow. See, I think that's just the thing with the show. It's so easy to watch. It's easy to go from one episode to the next. Peter is teasing. I did say it wasn't about Cobra Kai, just another topic. Okay. So Peter knows stuff. So go follow Peter on Twitter, Instagram, follow his podcast, because I am sure all of that information will be coming out on Cobra Kai Companion at some point soon. Darkest Hour says, I'm halfway through the first Cobra Kai game. A lot of fun. Yeah, it was. I thought the first game was quite a lot of fun. And Winter JV says, I didn't even know there was a Cobra Kai video game. Yeah, there are actually 2 now. I can say that if you're a fan of the show, if you really enjoy the show and you enjoy sort of throwbacks to like, 90s beat 'em ups, those kinds of games. I really enjoyed that first game. I think you'll really like it. It's got so many characters. It's got story from at least the first 3 seasons of Cobra Kai. I would definitely check that out. It's got original music from Zach Robinson and Leo Bierenberg. Just definitely check that out. Now, the second one, that's the one I think where we're waiting for it to get patched. Maybe it was released a little early, that type of thing. So we shall see. Clifford, thank you so much for the super chat, Clifford. I wonder if Tori broke any bones after punching that stone block. Also, if Silver went back and roundhouse that guy for calling Cobra Kai adorable. Oh man, that's so funny. Maybe, yeah. What happened to that guy? What happened to the Habsburg jaw guy that called Cobra Kai adorable? I don't know. Maybe he'd let that go. What happened to Cheyenne? It looked like that was one of Cheyenne's friends. So maybe he just left that behind. Clifford, thank you so much for your contribution. Every little bit helps. And yeah, poor Tori. Yeah, it looks like she might have actually broken her hand. I mean, how could you not? It was pure stone. That was, maybe not one of Terry's better moments. I'll agree. Lucas says, maybe the Karate Kid remake is a movie in the Miyagi-verse based on the events that happened in Karate Kid, and that's why Johnny had a bad life, because he was ruined by his loss in the public. Knowing it was based on him and Daniel. Oh, wow. I hadn't heard that. That's an interesting idea. The idea that movie, the remake, exists as a movie for the characters in Cobra Kai. That's based on their life. That's so interesting. I would think, though, that Daniel would be all about that on his commercials for LaRusso Auto. That, oh yeah, they based a movie off of me, and so I don't know, but I love that idea. I think that's a really great idea. Let's see what flip the script. Enjoying the show, Ken. Do you think there could be an adult division at the Sakai Taikai? Yeah, anything's possible. And that would really give an opportunity for the senseis to compete in an actual regulated rules-based setting. Wouldn't that be great to see? I think that's wonderful. I think that would be a very, very great thing to say. Everyone's been longing for these sensei fights. And if it's at a worldwide status level, you would think that the masters behind these schools competing should compete themselves. I think it's a great idea. Thank you. Flip the script. Let's see. Peter says, yes, Ken, help me get more comfortable. Okay, that's good. Josh says, do you think Bill Conti Terry theme could be used more times in season 5? Yeah, it's interesting because that's an amazing theme, very Vivaldi-esque. And I think I might, at some point, I would love to have Jay Galvin and Rachel White Galvin, who are the composers for Cobra Cole, which if you guys haven't seen Cobra Cole, check the link in the description and watch it because it's so much fun. But they did all the original music for that. And their music was based on the Terry theme from Karate Kid 3. And they just do an amazing job of evoking that. It's very Vivaldi-esque. And so I love that theme. I love all the variations of it. I think, though, that Zach and Leo, have come up with their own themes. So perhaps after season 4, they wanted to stick more to their own themes for Terry Silver, and it's a really cool theme. So, yeah, I mean, it's always welcome to hear the Terry Silver theme by Bill Conti. I am never not going to want to hear it, but I understand that Zach and Leo do an amazing job with their score. And their version of the Terry theme is also really good. So I would anticipate them using that going forward and variations of that. Great question. Great question. Call the Cobra says, what if Silver let Daniel win the fight in the finale as part of his plan to get him arrested? That's yes. Cobra Kai Joseph actually had that thought. Brilliant thought. And I like that because actually it makes a lot of sense. So I'm not saying that that's because it's totally compatible with the Save Silver movement, but I think it is. Speaking of the Save Silver movement, guys, if you look below this video, there's like merchandise and stuff. So they obviously it's not mass produced, so it's kind of on the pricier side. So I want to do the best I can to get the price down. So use that code SAVESILVER for 20% off all the merch in the store. Go and click on the store, and there are all different kinds of options. I think I'll be uploading new stuff to that too. That's Save Silver, but also maybe not Save Silver stuff, maybe KenCast stuff. But check out the store. It is in its beginning stages, but you can order Save Silver mug. You saw Drew wear the hoodie. There are shirts. There's the Save Silver hat. There's so many ways that you can support the Save Silver movement. And so anyway, if you want to, for this next week, it's 20% off. Go ahead and use that code. So yes. Peter, oh yeah, he's talking about, we did this Paley Fest where Peter interviewed so many people right on the red black carpet. And he said, I hadn't interviewed Mary, Peyton, or Tanner at the time, so I was a little nervous because it was my first time meeting them. Yeah, and he did a great job. Go check out his channel. They were excellent interviews of Paley Fest if you haven't seen it. Excellent. And it was so much fun, a real high point, and hopefully we'll get more of those events going forward with hopefully the continuation of the Cobra Kai series. What else? Claude Leon says, when Cobra Kai first started, it felt from JL perspective, but season 5 made it another Karate Kid movie for DL. I hope sometime before the whole series end, JL gets a confirmed non-debatable win against DL. Wow. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting, and people brought this up about Johnny being, they've said that, well, Johnny started as kind of the hero of the show, but is this more Daniel focused now? Is Johnny not so much the hero of the show anymore? Is Daniel the hero? And I think we're just basically in the middle of a long-running series, and all of those things will get sorted out as we go forward. But yeah, it would be interesting if Johnny gets a confirmed win against Daniel. Although, how would you feel about that? Is Daniel's the Karate Kid? He did beat Johnny in the first one. But maybe you're right. Maybe in the interest of balance, Johnny should get a win. So Angad Chana says, hello from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Thank you for joining us. Oh, beautiful. I've been to Calgary. I have not been up to Edmonton. But it is just absolutely beautiful in Alberta. Absolutely beautiful. So someday I hope to get up to Edmonton. Thank you for watching. Daniel says, I prefer Zach and Leo's Terry theme. It captures the true essence of Terry's character. Yeah, it really does zero in on the slitheriness of Terry Silver, I would say. The original theme by Bill Conti is great because it really builds up this idea of Terry Silver as a romantic, this classic villain. It's almost like this inversion of the main Karate Kid theme. It plays with that, and it's kind of the evil version of that. So yeah, I like them both. I love the idea, though, of Bill Conti's epic orchestral symphony. This idea that this is how Terry sees himself, as this conductor of his own symphony, and he's just refined and rich and wealthy, all the finer things in life. And so that's why I love that theme. Metal says, if Terry gets out, where will he go after losing his Cobra Kai students? Well, I don't know. I would think with Terry's power of persuasion and all his resources, he might even be able to get some of those students back, especially if they think they've been, if he can convince them that they've been misled or that other people were way worse than he was. Terry's very persuasive. So I'd love to see what happens. Javier watching on Facebook. Ken Cole, my name is Javier. My idea is Mr. Miyagi did expose John Kreese first. After that, he did to Terry Silver. Interesting. Okay. So this might be due to, so by expose, I wonder, do you mean as far as fighting, or that he actually, maybe he just exposed that John Kreese was not a good martial artist. And I think you're exactly right. He really exposed John Kreese for who he was. And then Terry Silver, he exposed him for, the charlatan he was. So, yeah, I think you're 100% correct. And thank you for watching, Javier. Great to have you all on board. And then we've got Morgan saying, I don't need another Johnny and Daniel rematch. Yeah, I know. It's like you could go in so many different ways. And of course, now apparently Johnny and Carmen are going to have a kid. So I don't know if does that change Johnny's outlook? Does he want to fight Daniel even anymore? Why would he fight Daniel? I think maybe if it were the Sakai Taikai where there was an actual tournament, maybe a gentleman's match, something like that, where there's not animosity. It's just, kind of like Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa fighting behind closed doors. It's kind of a gentleman's match, something like that. I don't know. But Eliza says, perhaps a very wise thing. Aren't we all villains and heroes at different moments in our lives? It's a very wise thing, and I encourage everyone to look at Terry Silver this way. He may have been a villain at some point, but maybe he's not a villain now. Daniel may have been a hero at some point, but maybe he's not a hero now. And we have to separate ourselves from our emotional attachments to certain people, certain characters, and see them for what they've really done. What did Daniel cause to happen, right? He got everyone so jazzed on that night that Terry Silver was behind Mike Barnes's furniture store burning down. He's the only one who's said that confidently. He said it to Chosen. He said it to Amanda. He said it to Mike Barnes. But just because Daniel said it doesn't mean it's true. But look what that did. That led to all of them drunk, Mike Barnes, Chosen, and Johnny, barging into Terry's house, breaking through the front gate, all on camera, breaking and entering, committing crimes that are provable. And when Terry tried to defend himself with his staff, look at what they did. I mean, that was all on Terry's property and completely uncalled for. And I think we need to think about that. That's why we need to save Silver, guys. That's why we need to save Silver. Big T backs that up. What are you talking about? I have always been the hero. Don't believe the lies. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, Big T. Yeah, and I just want to be careful. Sometimes I just talk spontaneously, and I got to remember who pays the bills. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud. Big T, I got your back. You're right. You're always the hero. Marianella says, there were cameras at Terry's house and his dojo. How will Mike, Johnny, and Chosen explain the break-in at Terry's house for beating up his guests? Yeah, and there were severed fingers. There was that severed finger with the ring. Johnny took that ring and gave it to Carmen. Wow. How brutal is that? That is a villain move. That's a villain move, if you ask me. So, Big T says, I bet Barnes' wife burned down the store as an excuse to leave his podcast. Just saying. Yeah, I agree. And Terry never confirms that he did that. And the way the show was edited, it made it look like, it's a very easy editing trick. You basically put two scenes right up next to each other. And so it confers meaning. One bleeds over into the other. And so basically you had Terry saying, warned you what would happen if you play with fire. And then the next scene shows the store burning down, which everyone assumes, oh, that's the fire. Terry did that, but never admitted to it. And it's not provable. It's not provable. So, let's see. Daniel says season 5 really explores the gray. I don't consider Daniel, Chosen, and Johnny's heroes, just as I don't consider Silver a villain. It's all about the conflict with these characters. And I think that that's a fantastic point. That's why the show is so great, is because the whole concept is we're looking at it from a different point of view. From the very first season, we're looking at it from Johnny's eyes. And I don't think even Daniel's a villain in that. They're just both people. And I like the show, especially when it looks at everyone as a person and it's not assigning people as villain or hero or that type of thing. So absolutely. Javier says on Cobra Kai, Kyler Park bullied Miguel Diaz. He called him Rhea, and Anthony Russo bullied Kenny Payne, and he called him try to do crap pants dance. You can agree with me. Yeah. I think Kyler is like one of the great bullies in television. He's just amazing amazing character, a character that you love to hate. But who knows? Maybe he'll be a likable character going forward. Who knows? But he seems like he'll always have that kind of dark side to him. And Robana says maybe Terry paid off Mike's wife. Dun dun dun. Maybe. Like Robana, that's a good point. Well, guys, to kind of wrap this up for tonight, I think from everything we looked at today, and hopefully our thoughts are with Drew, and hopefully everything's going well on his end. But he brought up some excellent points earlier that Netflix might be more algorithm based, which might not give certain shows a chance. But I think as we dug into the numbers and the parameters of why shows get renewed or canceled, it seems like Cobra Kai, even as late as the 5th season, has done very well for Netflix. Probably has a high completion rate, has a lot of hours viewed, and I'm thinking could justify a multiple season renewal. That's just a guess. Hopefully we'll get some words soon, some teases from the showrunners. But I want to thank all of you for commenting. It's great to have your feedback in the live chat. I love hearing all of your ideas. If you're not watching this live, go ahead and comment down below this video, and we read the comments there too. And I really appreciate you all joining me on this first KenCast After Dark in the new year. I think I'll also do a poll because I'm trying to figure out what time of day and what day of the week to do these KenCasts, because I want to do it at a time that works the best for the most people. So I'll watch for that poll and be sure to vote in it, so I can figure out if Thursday nights work, Wednesday nights, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, that type of thing. And so I would really love to get into a schedule of doing these maybe multiple times per week, because I think we're going to have a lot to talk about. And we can talk about other things besides just Cobra Kai. We can talk about all kinds of fun stuff, even from the 80s or Karate Kid, and have all kinds of guests on. So you guys, it's wonderful spending time with you. A big thank you to Drew O'Halley for joining us for the first part of the show to lend his wisdom. We hope to have him back as soon as possible. Definitely check out the Last Row podcast. The latest episode is on Edward Scissorhands. That's below. If you haven't seen Cobra Cole, you guys need to go see Cobra Cole. It's down in the description. It has me and David Chatraw, who plays Tom Cole in Cobra Kai. It's a lot of fun, especially for you Terry Silver fans. Check that out. And as always, guys, if you're new to the channel, or if you haven't subscribed and you watch these and enjoy these, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell and hit the like button. It is absolutely hugely important for the channel. It helps this channel grow, helps this channel get to more people. And thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for watching KenCast and all these videos. And I look forward to seeing you the next time. And until then, many good wishes that you get some news about the renewal of season 6 of Cobra Kai. Hopefully that'll happen soon, but also be sure to check out those action figures coming out with the first ever action figure in history of the character of Terry Silver. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you next time on KenCast.
Thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next time on KenCast.